Welcome again to the webinar, everyone. Let's go over what we're going to cover today. Okay, so we are going to start by talking about data scientists versus data analysts. So what does that role mean, and these two roles, and how they're different in industry. We're going to talk a little bit about how to gain the skills to be successful in each role. Then we're going to go into the value of mentorship. So Springboard, one of the coolest features of our programs are the fact that you get connected to a mentor. So we're going to go a little bit into that, like what exactly does that mean? What does a mentor do for you, and why is it valuable? We're going to go into our career coaching and how we support all of our careers track students to get a job with a job guarantee, which means that if you don't get a job within 6 months of graduating, we refund your tuition. We're going to talk about some of our student outcomes from all of our data science courses, and then go into some next steps about how you can apply with a special offer at the end. And then finally, once we're done with all that, we will start taking questions. As I said again, you're welcome to type in your questions at any point in the conversation. We'll just get to it at the end. So first of all, a little bit about myself. I'm Raj. I'm Springboard's data science expert in residence. What that means is that I help build all of Springboard's data science courses. And this includes our data science career track, our data analytics career track, as well as our machine learning career track. So I've had a long background in software engineering and data science, and I both worked as an individual data scientist in companies, as well as a lead for a chief data scientist at startups. So I have a wide variety of data science experience in the field. So let's talk a little bit about what it means to be a data analyst versus a data scientist. So what does a data analyst do? Fundamentally, a data analyst crunches numbers. What that means is that they look at numbers, they analyze them using tools like Excel primarily, and then acquire data via SQL, often visualize them using tools like Tableau and Power BI. And they tell a business stakeholder, which could be anyone from a manager to a CEO, depending on the size of the company, hey, what is happening in the company right now? And here is the data or the analysis to prove it. They typically work with problems that are given to them by business stakeholders. So a business stakeholder might ask them a very specific problem like, what is our customer lifetime value? Or how does our marketing funnel or our sales funnel look like? So these are very well-defined specific business problems that are common across many different companies. And a data analyst has a set of tools to know how to solve them. They conduct the analysis and they present charts and graphs and other kinds of results to stakeholders. So the tools that they use, as I mentioned, are Excel, SQL, Tableau, Power BI for visualization. And occasionally nowadays, data analysts are also beginning to use some programming languages such as Python or R. In contrast, a data scientist builds machine learning models. So they have more of an advanced technical skill set, which helps them talk about not just what is happening with the data, but also what may happen in the future and what we might want to do about it. So while the data analyst primarily works with business stakeholders, a data scientist often interfaces between business and engineering. So they identify business problems, they translate them to a data problem, conduct analysis, give presentations to stakeholders explaining what those insights and analysis mean. But then they also work with the engineering team to deploy those analysis and actually turn them into a product or become part of a product or something that is productized. So this means that a data scientist works at the intersection of several fields. They have to be good at stats and mathematics to understand how these machine learning algorithms work. They have to be good at programming and coding to actually implement those algorithms. And then they have to be good at business and communication and data storytelling to explain and communicate with business stakeholders. So data scientists use a variety of tools. In terms of the technical tools they use, they often use programming languages like Python and R, and a variety of machine learning and statistical libraries. So how do you gain the skills to become a data scientist or a data analyst? So let's talk about data science first. So we have the data science career track, which trains people to get their first job in the field of data science. So in order to get into the data science track, we require that you have some statistics background. This could be high school level descriptive statistics, knowing about probability, basic probability, averages, and standard deviations, and all of those quantities, maybe some histograms. And we require that you have some programming background. And the way we define that is you are comfortable in at least one programming language. This doesn't have to be Python, even though our course is in Python. It could be other languages such as R or Java and so on, which are also common programming languages in industry. So why do we require this? Basically, we require this because we create our courses with a lot of input from employers and hiring managers. So before we create or update any course, we interview a large number of hiring managers and employers and ask them, what are you looking for? How do you, what does a data scientist or a data analyst need to in your company to be successful in their role, and how do you test for that? And so we incorporate all of that both into our admissions process as well as our actual course. So in the data science career track, you are going to learn how to create machine learning models and use those to extract insights from data, and then actually impact the business by providing recommendations that make sense for the business. As part of that, you're going to be working on 2 in-depth capstone projects, which are going to be part of your portfolio. So these projects are designed to be realistic industry standard projects that your mentor will help you pick as well as guide you through at every step. With a data analytics career track, we don't require that you have any past technical experience. However, we do need you to have some technical and analytical aptitude. Again, that's based on what employer needs are. And we test that through an admissions challenge, which is very similar to taking an SAT or another standardized test. In the course itself, you'll learn how to use various standard tools like Excel, SQL, Tableau to extract business insights from data and then communicate them to business stakeholders. In this course, you'll do 1 in-depth capstone project that you will pick and will be guided by your mentor. But then you also, in addition to that, do several deep case studies that have been created by our expert subject matter expert team that cover various realistic business problems. And you'll be using a very well-defined framework that we have created to be to solve various business problems that you might encounter in reality as a data analyst. So once again, just summarizing the difference between the 2 career tracks as well as the 2 careers. In data analytics, we don't require any particular skill prerequisites, just in basic analytical and technical aptitude. In the data science career track, we require high school level stats along with familiarity with at least 1 programming language. In data analytics, we cover how to answer very specific, well-defined business questions that are requested by stakeholders. In the data science career track, we teach you to identify new business questions that people may not even been asked about, translate them to data questions, and then solve them using various machine learning and programming tools. The job titles that you can expect to get as a whole for the data analytics career track, business analyst or data analyst; for the data science career track, data scientist. So what do you get as a student in our courses? So let's try to dive into some of the important aspects of our student experience. The most important thing that we want to talk about for our student experience is mentoring. So for every student, we match you with one-on-one with a mentor. What that means is that your mentor is somebody who actively works in industry. So if you're in the data analytics career track, your mentor will be a data analyst in industry. Similarly, for a data science career track student, your mentor will be a data scientist who's actively working in industry. This means that they bring all of their industry experience to help you take your first steps in your career. Your mentor will have a call with you once a week at a fixed time where you can talk to them about anything that you're working on, whether it's your capstone project, whether the course material, or just get career guidance. It's up to you as a student to determine how exactly you want to use that time. However, it's your mentor's role to keep you accountable and help you stay on track and help you kind of personalize your studying a little bit. So your mentor can give you both technical guidance as well as provide career advice and support. In addition to that, in addition to your assigned weekly mentor, we also provide unlimited mentor calls. So say you're stuck on a particular problem and you need immediate help, or you need a different perspective, like a second opinion, you can use this facility to get connected to one of our mentors who's available for unlimited calls and get a different, get another source of support. Overall, the biggest benefits of mentorship are accountability and staying on track, and then having somebody in industry who knows how the field works to tell you whether the work that you've done meets those standards. So that's why we're really, really proud of our mentorship program. In addition to mentorship, we offer unlimited one-on-one career coaching. So once you start on the program, you'll have a job strategy call with your career coach. So you'll be assigned a career coach. And our career coaches, we have a team of career coaches that are highly experienced in working and helping our students find the technical job that they are really, really a good fit for. So your coach will work with you based on your background and your past skills and your goals to create a job search strategy for you. What that means is that they'll help you figure out what kind of jobs are you the best fit for, where those jobs are located, how do you build your network to find those jobs, and so on. Work with you, and then how do you prepare for those interviews and then and ace them. So all of those steps are things that the career coach will help you on. They'll help you craft your resume, your LinkedIn profile, and then when you actually get your dream job, help you negotiate your salary too. So we have one-on-one career coaching for all of our career tracks that go from the start of when you start your course to 6 months after you've finished the technical part of the curriculum. And then I want to talk about our job guarantee. Basically, if you don't get a job within 6 months of graduating, we refund your tuition. This basically shows how committed we are to your success, and we will support you in every way we can in your career transition. If you want to understand the full list of requirements and the fine print around our job guarantee, please reach out to us with an email, and we'll be happy to talk to you more about it. Let's talk about some of the outcomes. We've had over 1,450 students who've gone through our data science career track already with 0 job guarantee refunds. So all the students so far who have completed the curriculum have been placed in data science or related jobs. On average, our students show a $26,000 salary increase between pre-course and post-course salaries. Those are pretty good outcomes, so at least we think so. So what's next? The next cohort starts on September 3rd. The application deadline is August 19th. It's completely free to apply. You fill out a short application form, and then depending on what course you've applied to, you're directed to an admissions challenge. With the data science career track, there is a challenge that involves some statistics and basic programming. With the data analyst career track, it's, as I said, more of an SAT-like challenge with logical and analytical questions. We have a special promotion code that will give you $500 of your tuition if you apply before August 19th. And then if you want more information or schedule a call with one of our admissions managers, just send us an email at hello@springboard.com, and we'd be happy to help. I think that's it for the presentation, and let's take some questions.
Cool. So we have been receiving quite a few questions. First, we got one from Satish, who was asking if machine learning is a subset of the data science career track.
So we have a separate career track called machine learning engineering. That is for people who primarily come from a software engineering background and want to become machine learning engineers, which is a different role in industry from data scientist. The job of a machine learning engineer is to take something that the data scientist has produced, maybe it's research, maybe it's a prototype, and then create a real scalable, high volume application out of it. So within the data science career track, though, we cover machine learning in quite a bit of depth because data scientists also use a lot of machine learning in their work. Typically, data scientists stop at the point where they create a working machine learning model, and they don't necessarily have to deploy it to production or do the work, the engineering work required to create a real application. So to answer your question in a nutshell, yes, the data science career track covers machine learning in quite a bit of depth, but the machine learning track is not a subset of data science. It's a different career track on its own, targeted to software engineers.
Great, thank you for answering that. And Rohit asked, since I don't have any programming languages or experience with programming languages, would it be difficult for me to get into DS, the data science career track?
Yes. So we don't. Our admissions challenge has a programming component for the data science career track. What we normally say is, if you have zero programming experience, but you want to take your first step in a data career, you have two options. You can either apply to our data analytics career track, which does not require any programming, or you can try our data science career track prep course, which will teach you basic Python and programming, and then that'll let you teach you what you need to know to take the data science career track challenge. Now, it's up to you, depending on how much you are interested in programming and that side of the technical world, but you have two options. And it's either one is great. It's up to you to figure out which one you want to do, depending on your interest in programming.
Great. And so just to recap, what are the three main programming languages to know for data science? Python, R, and SQL, is that correct?
Yeah, so Python and R are the most common languages used in data science, and these are what are called as general purpose languages. Python, R, Java, C, C++, you'll hear all these languages being thrown around in the tech world. These are all languages that you can use to build applications, okay? So in the data science world, Python and R are the most common. Recent trends indicate that Python is probably taking over, and it's on track to taking over in a couple of years. SQL is a language that is not a general purpose language, it's a specialized language. It's a language that is particularly used to access and manage databases. So SQL is a language that most data analysts and data scientists have to know at least something about, because they're working on running queries or analyzing data or retrieving data from database. Anytime you have to work with a database, you're typically using SQL or some of its variants. So a typical data scientist in industry knows either one of Python and R, or both sometimes, and they also know SQL. And we are covering, in our data science career track, we are going to cover Python in great depth along with SQL. In our data analytics career track, we cover SQL in great depth with a little bit of Python.
Awesome. And how long are the data science career track and data analytics career tracks from course start to basically the last day, and how long does Springboard continue to offer support to you as a student in the course?
Yeah, great question. So our typical students in the data science career track take about 6 months to complete the technical part of the curriculum. As they're doing that, they're also getting career support. So they're having regular calls with their career coach to create, get their job search strategy, maybe getting resume reviews, maybe building out their network. So they're doing all of the preparatory work it takes to find a job. Once they're done with the technical side of the curriculum, we offer them 6 months of support to actually do the job search process. A job search process, no matter how good you are, is an intense process, and there is a lot of uncertainty there. So we want to make sure our students have the time it takes to put in a good amount of effort in finding the job. Most of our students get a job well before the 6 months after they complete the technical part, but we want to make sure that they have a fair amount of time.
Great. And someone is asking if they can do the data analytics career track and then take the data science career track afterwards. Is it something that you would recommend, or just picking with one or the other? So
that's a good question. What I would recommend is personally, just knowing, given my knowledge of the industry, is take the data analytics career track, get a job as a data analyst, work in industry for a year or two, and then if you find that you want to move to data science by getting those machine learning skills, then do that. it's typically not like, going from data analyst to data scientist is not necessarily an automatic path. And then there is a lot of value, especially if you're starting out in the data space, in actually working as a data analyst and getting some of that, both that technical and that business experience before deciding the next step. And who knows, when you're working as a data analyst, you might realize that there's a different direction you want to go altogether. So I would recommend take the data analytics career track, work in industry for a bit, and then decide where you want to go.
Awesome. Would it be feasible to complete either program in 4 months instead of?
I mean, it's all feasible. It depends on how much time you want to put into it. So, yeah, I mean, if you, and some of our students who are between jobs or taking a break or something, they do that. But I have to warn you, they're pretty much spending a lot of time, enough time as a full-time job, like a 30, 40, even 50 hours a week in the program. So it's possible. Everything's possible if you put enough time and effort, but it's not going to be easy.
Great. And you mentioned this a little bit earlier, responding to one of the other questions, but someone asked again, what if we don't do well on the admissions tests for either of the courses?
Yeah. So if you take the data science career track challenge and you don't do well, we recommend that you try out our data science career track prep course, especially if you find that you need some help in programming. So that's an option you can do, or you can go, you might decide like, I'm not ready to try programming yet. I want to do more of a data analyst role and start there. So in that case, I would recommend you try the data analytics career track. And then if that doesn't work out, we will send you some resources that will help you maybe get up to speed with some of the skills and things you need to pass the challenge.
Sorry, we're getting a lot of questions.
That's great. Questions are good.
So one of the trending questions that a few people have asked is, where do most first students end up working, or where have students ended up getting jobs after completing the data science career tracks?
Yeah. So there have been a variety of companies. So and a variety of locations. So our students have been hired by both top tech companies like Facebook, Google, Microsoft, LinkedIn, but then there are also companies in other domains. It could be consulting firms like Accenture and Deloitte, where students have gotten jobs, oil companies like Shell, then financial institutions like Capital One. So, and then automobile companies like Ford and Tesla. So our students have gotten jobs all over the place. That's because pretty much every industry now is hiring data scientists and data analysts, and it's an extremely hot field. So it almost depends on where you want to go. I mean, obviously, different industries have different requirements, and for some industries, it helps to have domain knowledge. So for example, if you are really interested in getting a data science job in healthcare, it helps to have some kind of a health-related background or degree or whatever. But given, if you have the right kind of background, you can get a job in most any industry now.
Cool, great. Sorry, there's so many. Every time I scroll, there's just more questions that are coming in. How does the course work for working professionals? On average, how long are the lectures that are included in the courses, and sort of how is the course curriculum structured?
Yeah, well, very good question. I can definitely I'll speak first for the data science career track and then go to the data analytics one. So the data science career track is structured to reflect what we call in industry the data science process. So when we are solving a data science project as a data scientist working in a company, typically you follow, at a high level, you follow a series of steps. You have to first frame, you typically get a business problem from a business stakeholder. You have to frame it as a data problem. Then you collect the data that you need to solve the problem. This could be already available, or you may need to run experiments to collect the data. Then you need to wrangle and clean the data and transform it to make it into something you can analyze. Then you apply some kind of analytics method to it, or like a machine learning algorithm or statistical analysis. And then you get results, and then you present it to your stakeholders as, like this is as recommendations. So our course is structured following those steps that data scientists typically follow. So you'll first learn about how to frame business problems. Then you learn about collecting data, and then wrangling data, then exploring data, then machine learning, and then data storytelling. And then as you're doing the course, you're going through videos as well as mini projects related to each topic. The mini projects are typically assignments that take a few hours, and they're very focused. And then you're also working on your capstone project. The idea of the capstone project is that it's an industry standard project that you are following the data science process on to solve. So you're basically getting practice in the data science process through these multiple different ways: the lecture material, the structure of the course, as well as the capstone project and the mini projects. So similarly, in the data analytics career track, a data analyst has a typical method that they follow. Typically starts with problem structuring, where you take a problem, break it down into an issue tree, and then generate hypotheses that you have to validate through data. And then you collect the data, you clean the data, and then there is like a process of hypothesis validation and testing, and then finally talking about recommendations. So in this career track, the data analyst career track, again, you learn about each process, and then you do case studies that apply each of those principles that you've learned, while at the same time working on a bigger capstone project that's an end-to-end project that you have to apply each of these phases on. So it's very hands-on, the curriculum, and the lecture videos are meant to supplement the projects in terms of giving you the material you need to learn and solve the project. But the ultimate goal, in a way, is to have a great portfolio that you can present to your employers in the form of both your capstone projects as well as the assignments and case studies that you're working on.
Great, thank you for that. And so if you don't want to change jobs or do a job search and you just want to improve in your role, would you still recommend either one of these programs for whatever suits you best?
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely, you learn the skills that you need to apply whatever technique you want to your current role. In the past, we've had students who decided to pick a capstone project that they're working on with their employer. So for example, somebody can pick a data set that's available within their employer or their company, and then work on that and a business problem related to that with their mentor. So definitely you can use that, and you can work with your mentor to kind of customize the course in a way to make it applicable to your current job. Nothing really stopping you on that.
Awesome. And what would be the difference between taking one of these courses as opposed to going into a master's program?
That's a good question. There's a cost benefit and a time benefit. Our courses are, you can feasibly complete them within 6 months, plus, whatever time it takes to find a job, and you are going to get career support on that. So that's one. You save a lot of time. Most master's programs tend to be 2 years and at least. So that's one. Cost, we cost less than $10,000, whereas a master's program typically is, several times more, could be like 30, 40, even more, $1,000, depending on the university. And then the third thing that I want to emphasize is the quality of career support that we provide. Most students, if you've been to college, I know you've gone to a university, career services center, how that they're not always up to speed with the latest industry practices and how job searching actually works in industry. So, when I went to my university career services center, and when I was doing it in grad school and so on, they did do a good job of looking at my resume and giving me feedback. But beyond that, there wasn't really much guidance as to how finding a job in industry really works, especially in a new and competitive industry like data science. In an industry like this, it takes a lot of work in terms of building relationships, networking, showing your work to hiring managers and employers, creating an impressive portfolio, and so on. There's a lot of different things that are needed to find a job that our career services team is really good at, and they'll spend the time and the effort one-on-one with you to help you find those roles. not just any data science role, but the role that you're a perfect fit for. So that's an advantage, I think, that we have over going to a typical master's or graduate program.
So kind of following on the tune of job outcomes, someone was curious how exactly we provide support, if you could touch on that some more, for helping students find a job, giving guidance, sort of what that looks like from the student experience.
That's a great question. So we have career support built in throughout the curriculum. So some schools have a policy, or even universities, where you get to the end of your technical curriculum and that's when you start looking for a job. We don't really believe that, because we don't believe that you find jobs nowadays, and our employers tell us that they don't. We talk to hiring managers and they don't really find jobs or find employees by looking at random resumes that come in through the internet. That just doesn't work. So you don't find good jobs nowadays by sending out resumes online and then just hoping that somebody will reply. The way you find jobs is by building your network, by connecting with employers or hiring managers one-on-one, in person, or on the phone, and then showing them your portfolio, building those relationships, and eventually translating them into opportunities to interview. So in order to actually get a job, you need to do a lot of foundational work that needs to happen before you are actually ready to show a completed project. So this includes thinking about your job search strategy. So based on the background you have, or the place you want to go, or the kind of job you want, what exactly do you need to do? How exactly do you need to present yourself or brand yourself? Who are the kinds of people you need to connect with? Where are they located? What are the kinds of companies you need to apply to? So you'll have a job search strategy call that your career coach will sit down with you and work with you to come up with that. And then for the rest of your course, you'll execute that strategy. So this includes helping you network and build your network with the right kinds of companies. Then obviously creating a resume and a cover letter and other materials that help you connect with them. Figuring out how to translate your network to interviews and opportunities to interview. And then we help our students in the interview process. So as part of our curriculum, we provide mock interviews with mock interviewers, both technical and non-technical. Our technical mock interviewers are basically mentors who also do mock interviews. So we provide 3 mock interviews, one in the data science career track. One that's a coding mock interview, because nowadays all data science jobs need some minimum coding skills. A machine learning mock interview, which is asking students about questions about basic machine learning knowledge and competency. And then a project walkthrough, where a hiring manager will ask you to walk them through a project from end to end, explaining to them why you made certain decisions and how you made them. And then in addition to that, you have a non-technical interview, which is typically a behavioral interview that's conducted by a recruiter. In our case, it's conducted by a career coach. And this is something that is often used by recruiters as an initial filter to evaluate candidates and weed them out. So we want to make sure that our students know how to answer those questions too. So you get one-on-one career support at every step of the way that is tailored to your background and your goals.
Cool, great. And so to be sensitive of everyone's time, since we are a little bit over, we're just going to take a couple more questions. And for anything that we don't get to, we'll try and reach out to you to make sure your questions get answered. And so one of the questions that we've gotten quite a few times is there any sort of trial period for when the course starts after you sign up?
I actually don't know the answer to that. Is that?
We do. We have a 7-day trial period.
All right, so we still do. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
So we have a 7-day trial period.
Yeah.
Great.
And then another one that came up a couple of times is sort of about the machine learning track that we have in comparison to the data science career track that we have. What would be the differences between who the courses are for?
Yeah, so the machine learning career track aims to take people who are already software engineers. This is very, very critical. You are already a software engineer who's working in industry, building applications and software, typically back-end software. And you want to translate to becoming a machine learning engineer, which is a software engineer that specializes in building machine learning pipelines and applications. So that is what who that course is for. This is because it might be possible, even if you're not a software engineering industry, or if you don't have much of a software background, it might be possible for you to do the course and even complete it. But employers nowadays, when they're hiring machine learning engineers, are very strict. We've just talked to so many of them, and they're very strict about having prior software developer experience. So if you are somebody who's a software engineer and you want to stay in engineering, but you want to add a machine learning skill set to a component to your skill set, then this is that machine learning career track is the right one for you. Otherwise, we would recommend that if you're interested in machine learning and some of those tools, to look at consider our data science career track.
Awesome. And the last question, the last couple of questions that we'll take is, how does it work if I can't complete the course by the 6-month mark? Is there an opportunity to extend? How does that work in relation to all of the benefits that are offered?
Yeah, so we completely understand, especially if you have a full-time job and you're juggling family and kids and the job and everything, that things come up and you may not be able to always complete. There's a new project at work. We've had all kinds of things happen to students, so we have to account for that. So we typically do provide an extension. It's on a case-by-case basis, but it's typically not that hard. But when you're in the course, we have a student advisor who works with you, and that's your point of contact with Springboard. He or she will basically help you with that process. So you reach out to them and you say like, hey, this is what happened. I might need an extension, and they'll walk you through that process. But yes, we do provide extensions depending on the circumstances.
Awesome. Thanks for answering that. And the last question we'll take is, how many cohorts do we have in a year? How often do courses begin?
We have about once a month, right? Yeah, I think we still do about once a month. It typically starts on a Monday, and it's so we. Sometimes we'll not have a holiday cohort during the holiday season, like during Christmas, but otherwise, so it's 11 or 12 cohorts a year. All right, cool. Is that it?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much for your time, everyone, and I hope this was helpful. If you have any more questions or you want to schedule a call with one of our admissions managers and ask them on the phone, then just send an email to hello@springboard.com, and we will get back to you very, very soon. And have a wonderful day.